Well, now it's time to check in with Keith Bilbrey to see what kinds of questions that you have been leaving for me in the comments. And all of this, you can send your own comments to my2cents@tbn.tv mailbox. Keith, let's dig deep into that mailbox tonight and see what you got.
Oh, we've got some deep stuff tonight. Kathleen Fletcher. Hello, Mr. Huckabee. I'm a believer, and I'm grateful to God for Christian Faith TV. However, I've become very disheartened by what I hear on TBN concerning the state of the country. Seems to me that you all are willing to give Donald Trump a pass since he claims to be pro-life, even though he's willing to lock up babies. He's never liked people like me, blacks and non-white people, and he only values women for our looks. I'm no advocate for abortion, but due to a desperate situation, I did have one. And when I hear you all, I feel condemned. Yet you give this man a pass on his behavior. My question to you is, why?
Well, Kathleen, I don't think I give a pass to anybody for their behavior, but I also give compliments to people whose policies are actually in concert with what I think is great for America. I'm sorry that you felt the need to have an abortion. I would never condemn you for it. I've often said, always say, two victims in every abortion. One is the baby, the most obvious victim, but another victim is the birth mother who lost the joy of raising her child and who will experience most every time a lifetime of guilt and pain over that. I'd like to see abortion eliminated. And by the way, say what you will, but no president, not even Ronald Reagan, has been a more pro-life president than has President Trump. And that has been by a number of policies, by defunding Planned Parenthood, which is nothing more than a money-making abortion machine. And so to say that he doesn't care about people of color, his policies led to the highest employment rate in history, in all of history, for people of color. It sounds like some personal things you might need to think about, but I appreciate your writing us, and I'm always happy to hear from people who don't necessarily agree with me. And thank you for writing. What else we got, Keith?
Well, Cindy Carlson writes, a lot of people have lost their jobs and their lives and family members because of Republicans that think COVID is no big deal. Talk about hypocrisy, the continued politicization of what is a sickening beyond belief. Yes, Democrats that don't follow the guidelines are wrong, but you can't pretend Democrats are the only ones that are saying one thing and doing another. Trump called it patriotic once to wear a mask and has since hardly worn one. You act as though no Democrats are wearing masks or following guidelines, which is more hypocrisy.
Well, I've never said that there was only hypocrisy among people on the left, but I will tell you this, that not one single Republican governor or mayor has been caught telling people to don't go out to a restaurant and then turn around and do it. When you have the mayors of places like Chicago who says, don't get a haircut, she got one, or mayors who say, don't go out to eat, but they did. Governor Newsom in California, who told everybody to lock down at home, but he went to an expensive $700 a person restaurant, no mask, got close to people, didn't social distance. I don't know if he washed his hands. I don't know what he did or not. But my point is, Republicans do take the disease seriously, but let me tell you what we don't take seriously. We don't take seriously people who tell us one thing but do something different. So if you're going to tell me to do something, either do it yourself or don't tell me, because I don't believe people in public service get to order us around like we are somehow working for them. It's always been my understanding that when people get elected to something, and I felt this way when I was elected to something, the people don't work for me. I work for the people. I need to serve them, not expect them to serve me and obey me like I'm some kind of tyrant. So there you go.
Well, Kim Hardy writes, why did Flynn get in so much trouble for violating the Logan Act? Yet Biden now has done the same thing Flynn did, and no one's doing a thing about it. There's a double standard here. I don't care if he's going to be president in 2021. This is 2020. I really have not heard much on this. What do you think?
Well, I think the Logan Act, which has never, ever, not one time in American history been applied to somebody, and it started back in the late 1700s. So that's how long we've had the Logan Act. Never has anyone been tried on it. Michael Flynn, an esteemed general, was accused of violating the Logan Act for talking to foreign governments, but he was at the time the designated national security advisor for the president. Now, Joe Biden has been talking to foreign leaders all over the world. Nobody said a word about the Logan Act. Can I just mention something? Just maybe I'm wrong, but I'm just wondering. I wonder if there is a different set of standards that are being applied to Joe Biden than were applied to Donald Trump and his people. Just throwing that out there. Maybe there was.
Gordon Dickey writes, Governor, I'm a big supporter of you and your lovely daughter. I'm a 70-year-old retired police officer who was ambushed back in the 70s and suffered several injuries. I read recently that you were governor in 2009 and granted clemency to a cop killer who murdered 4 Seattle police officers. Can you address this? Kind regards, Gordon.
Gordon, I'm actually glad you asked that. First of all, I left office in 2007. So that was 2 years later when this incident happened. I got accused because I was in the middle of a presidential race of having let someone out of prison in Arkansas who went on to kill cops. What I did was act on the advice of a judge in the parole board to commute a teenage person who had been sentenced to 108 years for a non-gun related crime, reduce his sentence down to 38 years. He was parole eligible. He made parole. After parole, he committed an act of violence on parole, and the prosecutor should have put him back, but did not. He ended up moving to Seattle. He had some severe mental problems, and he did a horrible thing in killing those officers. There were a lot of things, including the governor of Washington, that should have sent him back and did not. I'm not blaming any one person, but I was accused of having let this guy out, which I didn't have the full power to do. All I could do was commute a sentence to make him parole eligible. He still had to go through the parole board, and the judge of his trial was the one who actually requested that his sentence be commuted. Can I just tell you this? We make a lot of decisions in public office. Sometimes we make some that don't turn out so well. In that case, there was no indication this person would ever do something that horrible. And in fact, what seemed to be horrible at the time was it because he was a young, poor, black kid, he ended up getting a longer sentence than most people who had committed first-degree murder. That didn't seem right. So that was the basis behind the decision. As it turned out, his mental illness, which we did not know about at the time, was very costly, and we all regret what happened. So can I say to you, all of you, leave your questions, your comments. You can even leave your vitriol in the comments below, or you can send them to my2cents@tbn.tv. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, then subscribe, and hit the notification bell below. Now, if you didn't like it, you ought to find a Ben Shapiro video to detox you with more facts.